So today's guest is the viral NVIDIA GPUPurse. Ta-da!
Should I flip it?
Yes, it's even more beautiful in person than it is on the internet, which it seems to have broken.
Yeah, I think it got I think last time I checked it was over 1.5 million impressions, but people were really excited about it.
Yeah.
Yes, have met really incredible people through it, and really excited to be working with Tessa Barton, who actually designed the purse, but I'll tell you a little bit more about that as we chat some more.
Yeah. Well, can I see it?
Yeah, sure.
Wow. So what is going on here? Yeah.
So I believe I want to double check this, Matt. I believe it's an NVIDIA 730 chip that's there. And then there's actually a fan on the other side that's an actual GPU fan. A lot of people ask if it's functional. It's not functional, but we could make it functional. So let us know if that's something you'd be interested in.
Yeah. And dumb question, but what is a GPU?
So it's a graphics processing unit. And so in layman's terms, you need this chip to be able to train, run, do any sort of AI. And it's very, they're so limited in the world. Obviously, I'm sure are very familiar with the NVIDIA craze.
Yeah.
Incredibly hard to scale hardware, but NVIDIA is a magnificent company. But I think that's why in certain news articles, it's been compared to the tech girl Birkin. Because of the limited supply of GPUs. So we thought that was really cool.
Absolutely. And so these are real GPUs.
That's I think why the purse is so novel. That is an actual NVIDIA decommissioned GPU.
Wow.
And the idea is that we are upcycling them. One thing I actually learned through the purse is that GPUs only have about a 2-year lifespan, which is not very long at all. So it's been fun sourcing them and repurposing them into art, fashion.
Yeah, wow.
Statement.
This is just so gorgeous. And so you're not wasting GPUs. I'm assuming that once they're done with their 2-year usefulness, then you kind of create the purse out of them?
Yeah, only decommissioned GPUs. We do have an H100 bag, although those are incredibly expensive and incredibly hard to find. So that one is a bit of a higher price point. But
so and I'm assuming that every purse is unique.
Yeah, every purse is unique. We hand make them actually. Wow. So it's quite a lot of work. It's a labor of love, but. Again, the way GPUPurse came about, I'll tell the story. I just like to lead, I feel like my life really changed significantly when I led with a mindset of abundance. As you know, there are not many women that work in AI.
No.
And I got to know Tessa through work. We work at the same company. And I was raving about her to one of the execs. And he said, did you know she makes GPUPurses? And I was like, no, she doesn't. He's like, she does. And I didn't know her that well.
Yeah.
And I reached out and was like, what is the deal? What are these GPUPurses? Months went by. And then New York Fashion Week popped up this year. And I know she's also really interested in fashion. So I said, oh my gosh, are you coming to Fashion Week? She FedEx shipped me the purse so that I would have it in time. And then it went viral. But I think it's so much more than a purse. I think it validates the thesis that there is a community here. There are women in tech that are interested in fashion. And what it means to me, I think, is it just goes to show what happens when you really lead with there is enough success for everyone. how do we support other women in the workplace?
Yeah.
This really came out of that, I think.
I love that. Yes. Thank you for doing this.
Oh yeah, of course. No, happy to be here. Very excited.
Yeah. So help me understand. You said that the H100 is a higher price point. What are we looking at here in terms of price point?
How much are we selling the bag for?
Yeah.
I think it's $1,024, which is, if you know, you know.
1024.
Very clever.
Okay,
Yes.
I love it.
But the H100, the chip itself, I think is like $32K if you're even able to buy it.
$32K for the chip. Okay.
Yeah.
I love that. Oh my God. So it's got all
the purse is a little bit more expensive.
Of course.
So,
right. Because
yeah.
if you get the chip for $32K.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then how many of these exist in the world right now?
Not very many.
Okay.
I want to say less than. I actually don't exactly know.
Yeah.
But not many.
Yeah. No, I believe it. I mean, this is just such. I feel like I'm holding some gold. Can I open it and see if it?
Yeah, of course.
So like, would it fit my purse? Would it fit my phone?
Yeah, here.
Oh my gosh, I want to try it.
But yeah, so Tessa is actually like a researcher. She's like an actual AI researcher, which I think is so cool.
Yeah.
She has been working in AI way before it was sexy.
Yeah, that's always a really huge green flag about a person.
Yeah, like dedicated
So cool.
her life to this, and she designed the bag.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I was like, this is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
And so working with her on this has been super fun, and have just like learned a ton from her. She's super creative. So
I love that. Yeah. Tell me about the response to the purse. So like, I know you mentioned you went viral on the internet, and like people have seen this.
Yeah.
How has it kind of changed your life? And yeah, what are some of the takeaways from just seeing the amount of interest that this got?
Yeah, I think I don't think it is an exaggeration to say it's changed my life.
Yeah.
I said that at a party and someone laughed, and I was like, if only I could name drop and they knew.
Yeah.
But it's really changed my life. I've always been super interested in fashion, but I was like very wary of the fashion girly connotation. And I have never pursued it as a career.
Yeah.
My background has been very like uber professional, you know,
yeah.
World Bank, United Nations, the most formal places that you can really work in. And so even getting comfortable with the approachability and like come as you are aspect of tech isn't even really natural to me. I'm a little jerky. But you know, I got flown out to a conference in SF. I got to meet the industry leaders that are building the future.
Wow.
These are the people that are, I think, deciding what the truth is, right? Like you type in Claude, ChatGPT, whatever, like you don't even have the agency to select what link you're clicking on. It's telling you the answer based on an algorithm. And the algorithm is built on decisions that
certain people
people are making. And I'm meeting them because of, you know, I could say meeting them because of this purse, but I think the purse is really just symbolic of the future of tech being inclusive. Yeah.
I love that so much. Do you ever get recognized when you're just wearing... I'll give this back to you.
Okay.
But do you ever
I missed her.
Yeah, I know. I could imagine being like super, super attached.
I'm very attached.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you ever just get recognized out on the street where you're wearing that purse?
I have been. Someone in the West Village screamed, "Oh my God, GPUPurse girl." And I was like, no one's going to believe me when I tell the story.
Yeah.
Like,
no. I believe you.
But yeah, I think that's the only time if like you don't know me or like we haven't connected on Twitter, someone like recognized me, which was freaking hilarious.
Yeah.
I have to say. But I have had people who are not chronically online come up to me and sort of inquire, what the heck are you wearing on your shoulder?
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, it's a really cool mix of like really nerdy, but also really aesthetic. Like, I feel like Tessa did a great job taking like a GPU and turning it into like an actual really beautiful purse.
Yeah, I think GPUs are really beautiful as well. They really are in so many ways. I'd love to see like a data center or tour NVIDIA at some point. But yeah, no, totally. I think it's totally changed my life. And I think the irony is like I never have thought about going and working at like Condé Nast.
Yeah.
But like since this purse went viral, it's been such a differentiator, and I've gotten to meet people I never would have met through work.
Yeah.
And so I think like, you know, not to get too deep here, but I think like it just speaks to like bring your most, like the best things happen when you're your most authentic self. And I think that like Venn diagram was really unique to us, and it seems to have resonated with millions of other people. So
yeah. Oh my God, I love that.
Yeah.
I want to hear more about you. So I know that you are Lebanese-American. I love to talk about immigrant stories, especially like people who live in New York, but maybe grew up in like different parts of the world. Where did you grow up?
The $1 million question.
Okay.
I feel like we all have this in common where people are asking.
It's complicated.
Like, well, where were you born?
Yeah.
Well, you know, what citizenship, like, have you taken 23andMe?
Yeah.
The like $1 million where are you from question. But I was actually born in a really small village in Lebanon.
Oh, you were born there.
I was born there. My mom was 19 at the time. And you know, both my parents grew up during the Civil War in Lebanon.
Yeah.
And the village that we're from is like we're Christian from like a little tiny Christian village. But I think it like geographically it was like on the front lines of the division during the war. So unfortunately, you know, Hiroshima has gone through quite a lot. And so to go from that to, you know, being born to like two parents in a village in Lebanon and then living in New York and working in tech, working in AI is like I have no words. I'm so grateful.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. And then how and when did you like come to the US if you were born in Lebanon?
Yeah, so I was born in Lebanon. My parents brought me here as a baby. And originally, it was so my mom wanted to be a doctor. And so she like came here to do her paperwork. Yeah. And she was really fascinated with the concept of a public library. Yeah. Because only like the uber wealthy had access to books, like pre-internet. Yeah. There's no electricity in Lebanon during this time. Yeah. And so I grew up in a household, hopefully every household believes this, but like knowledge is really a privilege. Yeah. And my mom said that she like walked into a library and like tried to pay for like a kid's book and they told her she could just have it, and it blew her mind. Yeah. And so she decided to raise us here in like suburbia, Seattle, Washington.
Love it.
To give us a, you know, better life. And I think we went to that little tiny library, King County Library System, shout out, every single day growing up to check out a book. I really feel like I grew up with her. Yeah. We just like learned about everything
so cute.
Together. She's really awesome. You should meet her.
Yeah. But, I've seen photos of her. Yeah. I stalked your Instagram. Sorry. This is really cute photo of the two of you matching outfits. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. So cute.
Yeah. Paula. Shout out, Mom. We love Paula. But yeah, really, you know, like at some point ended up in like private Catholic high school, did the Uggs, did the Lulu, was like as assimilated as you could imagine. And my mom actually graduated like went to college, graduated. She ended up doing CS.
Oh,
she had
so cool. Yeah.
3 kids.
Wow.
And so med school was sort of out of the cards.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
But she graduated, and there were 0 women in tech at the time. And so they said, like, you can either go on this, like, exec track,
Mm-hmm.
and your kids are going to be raised by nannies,
Mm-hmm.
you know, or, like, I'm very extreme. I get it from my mom. She was like, I actually want to move our family back to Lebanon and have them learn more about their culture and where they're from. Yeah. So my sophomore year of high school, we moved back to a village in Lebanon, which was crazy.
Sophomore year of high school?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. And so now you're back in Lebanon.
Back in Lebanon. Closest coffee shop is like 50 minutes away.
Holy shit, I would die after living in New York. I mean, I would.
Yeah. You know, girls don't play soccer, really insane. Yeah. And so I just locked in, was like, I'm going to college in the US. Went to UCLA.
Amazing.
4 years.
Congrats.
Thank you. Yeah, go Bruins. And then ended up, I thought I would go like straight into law school, but ended up working at the UN. And then I was really obsessed with this idea that the Lebanese lira was artificially pegged to the dollar. Yeah. And so I decided to be a foreign correspondent and explore that for 2 years. Yeah. So I was a foreign correspondent in Beirut for 2 years. So I actually did go back. Yeah. As an adult. But
oh my God. Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah. As you're speaking, I'm realizing, I know you and I, we just immediately clicked. And I didn't realize how much we actually had in common. I also went to a Catholic high school.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, in Pakistan, I went to like an all-girls convent.
Look at us now. Yeah,
it changes
schoolgirls.
Yeah, I mean, it changes you, you know.
Yeah, no, definitely. I don't know how to drink this, Matt.
You just do it. Well, talk to me about. I don't know if this is something you and I have in common, but for me, you know, growing up in Pakistan, going to college in the U.S., especially California, was kind of a culture shock. Is that something you experienced?
Oh, of course. Yeah. My dad dropped me off at college. I didn't know a single person. Yeah. I'd never been there. Yeah. My dad really, like, my family was like, just stay in Beirut for undergrad and leave for grad school. Yeah. And so I really, like, rebelled and made a big stink to go to college in the U.S. Okay. My mom was really supportive, but I think because they were worried about me. They were like, you don't know anyone. You don't know anything. Like, knew 0 people walking in to UCLA. I'm grateful to come out of it with, like, so many incredible friends. Yeah. But, like, yeah, there were awful times. Like, I think we talked a little bit about, like, Thanksgiving being an awkward holiday where, like, you're not going to go to Pakistan for 4 days. Yeah.
And everyone's so excited about going home. And I'm like, what do I do?
Yeah. No, like, super grateful to, like, have crashed many friends' Thanksgivings, or, like, people would, like, go home on the weekend to, like, if they got sick or to do laundry, like, especially UCLA is like a state school. I just, like, would not see my family or anyone from January until whenever our summer internship ended. So it was really tough, but I think I was just, like, a stubborn 17-year-old and was like, I'm gonna do this.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah. Yeah, well, I can see the resilience and grit that you developed, and I feel like that shows today in you kind of paving your own path and being like, I don't care if there aren't that many women in tech. I'm going to still do this thing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, well, am I allowed to interview you back? I want to hear about your experience going from Pakistan to Stanford.
Oh my God, yeah. Yeah, I mean, because I went to, like, a conservative all-girls convent in Pakistan.
Convent?
Yeah. Okay. No. So I don't even know I think what you're describing with the Lulus and the Uggs was, like, way different. I went to, like, very conservative all-girls. And also it wasn't very, like, rat racy. So people from that high school, they're not trying to go to Stanford or actually gain admission to like universities abroad. Like most of the girls I grew up with, they're wonderful, but they're all like, they had arranged marriages in like their early 20s, you know? So for me, I was like always like, whoa, like I don't, I felt like when I got to Stanford, I was surrounded by either people who were, you know, locals or like American or like the international kids. They grew up very differently. They like went to like international high schools where they kind of like knew how this thing is done. But I was like, I was kind of thrown in the deep end.
Yeah. Also to go from, I can't imagine going from like, you know, not super competitive, like wants to stay local to like Stanford. Like everyone's starting companies. That must have been like really crazy.
Yeah, it was. And I think I also fell into that a little bit, right? Where I thought that like, this is the way to be successful. And at some point I was just realizing like, this is not my definition of success. I think that's maybe somebody else set these rules where like you go to Stanford and then you work at McKinsey or you start a startup or, you know, you have these 3 options. But it turns out that I want to do something a bit different. So it took me a little while to figure that out. But yeah, it's been good.
That takes a lot of courage.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You know, one of the first steps was I became a stylist to people in tech. That was my first viral tweet.
See?
Yeah.
You're a style GPUPurse.
Oh, you don't need it. But yeah, that was actually my first, I would say, step because I was an engineer at Stripe and CTO at this YC thing. Then I was like, I'm going to go take a one-way ticket to Bali and I'm going to figure this out. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't even
know this.
Yeah. I just traveled by myself through like Asia for months. And I was like, what do I want to do with my life? Like I was reading all these books and doing all this like personal development. And like one of the things I remembered was like, I love fashion and I love like Pakistani fashion especially. And living in San Francisco, I feel like trying to fit into this very male-dominated world, I just gave that away. Like I felt, and in hindsight, it's a limiting belief, but I think I really felt like I had to fit in with these guys who are like super wonderful, nerdy white guys who have very little in common with me.
Yeah.
But I was trying to do things their way and kind of not allowing myself to just be myself, you know?
I couldn't agree more. I think like similar, I see a parallel with like, I don't know like if you experience this, but being the child of immigrants, my parents are always like, don't like, you know, don't garner a lot of attention. Like don't be having controversial views and like that's me with the controversial views. They're like have this like crazy third grader or whatever. But in the same way, I think like trying not to call a lot of attention to yourself for your fashion, I think is you know, I think we should focus on like, again, like people have said to me like, oh, tech is not really known for their fashion, but it is known for all our welcome.
It is. And it's also a very, I mean, I love the tech world so much. I think it's one of the most creative and ambitious and like interesting industries in the world. Like it's just objectively cool. People want to be at the forefront of like, what's the next big thing that's going to happen? And I think that people are very receptive, at least in my experience, to trying out this new thing. Like a bunch of people in SF, like literally founders, VCs, like hotshot people paid me money to take them shopping.
As they should.
I was like, I can't believe I get to do this. But sure, like, and I just made all these friends and got to have this really cool experience and make some money. And I never would have thought that people in tech would be into that, but they really are. Like, it's a very open-minded, loving, awesome community. I love the tech world.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I think you have to be a little bit vulnerable to like sit down with yourself and hire a stylist. Go them. Yeah, it was really fun. We would do this. We would like visualize their highest self. This is how I ended up becoming a life coach, because I realized that when I would sit down with someone, to me, it was never just about the clothes. It was about like, okay, where are you at in life right now? And like, where do you want to be? And how can we make you dress like the person that you want to be? Yeah.
And oftentimes it wasn't when they would dress like that person, they would feel more confident. they would oftentimes like get more attention from like women. This is a very classic, San Francisco male thing.
Yep.
I would literally like give somebody a glow up, and then they'd be like, oh yeah, and now I get all like girls are talking to me and stuff, right? Like it's pretty life-changing stuff. But
I think
it's just fashion.
Is. I think it's just like it's like you can, like slice out fashion, but like really it's just like everything is your brand. Your Twitter is your brand, your fashion is your brand, how you speak, how you walk, your hand gestures, like everything goes to personal brand. And I think it's just a part of that. Like I was telling someone the other, like people at work are like, oh, GPUPurse, very supportive. But I was saying, it's not that like it's revolutionary in that it's a GPUPurse, but if you think about it, like Steve Jobs is known for the black turtleneck jeans combo, right? Like people, like if you're on Halloween wearing a black turtleneck and jeans, people know that you're Steve Jobs, right? Yep. Like people have, I think like the Financial Times, I don't remember, one of the articles like said there's a new fashion moment in town in addition to Jensen's leather jacket. Like people know Jensen Wang, CEO of NVIDIA, leather jacket.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw Zuck has a new line of like Greek mythology t-shirts.
No, I did see he has a chain. Yeah, but I think I saw this on Twitter.
Yeah, explore that. He's really dipping his toes into the fashion world. But cool. It is recognizable. It is a part of their brand. Yeah. It speaks to their management style.
Speaks to their personality, really. I mean, a guy in a leather jacket versus a guy in a black turtleneck, very different vibes.
100%. Yeah. So I think like people maybe are more comfortable with talking about brand in a corporate setting versus like fashion.
Yeah.
But that's how I like to think about it. And I think that's why they like had this unlock with women, your clients. Yeah. Maybe they just heard that they worked with you.
Yeah. The other thing, so there were two themes with that. One was like for the guys, it was oftentimes like dressing better and like maybe getting more attention from women or like being taken more seriously at work. But for women in tech, it was like they wanted to be able to be feminine, but still be taken seriously at work. Like that's a very delicate balance you have to navigate as a woman, right? Mm-hmm. You oftentimes, like I would take a client shopping and I would have her like try on a dress. Mm-hmm. This sounds insane, but there were women who were like, I want to try that. I've never worn a dress before though. Like I don't, because I live in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Girls don't wear dresses in San Francisco. Mm-hmm. Especially if you work in like this very male dominated kind of field. Like these are just subconscious ways that we've kind of suppressed our feminine side, right? Mm-hmm. So I remember one time I took this girl and she ended up trying this like really sexy corset top.
Oh.
That I was like, I just threw it out as a wild card. I was like, oh, would you want to try? And she ended up loving it. And she felt so sexy. And, it was just something where she was like, okay, from now on, like, I'll keep this for date nights.
Okay. I was going to say, I do not want to wear a corset to be in Jira.
Not to work.
Yeah.
But the thing is, especially in tech, especially in SF, people don't really separate between life and work that much. I have heard from guys before, and I'm not judging anybody here, but I've literally heard from guys that they've taken a girl on a date. She showed up in a Patagonia vest and they were really turned off. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's just like, kind of the San Francisco culture is like work and life are the same thing and we just go straight from work to the date. So even having somebody like try on slightly different clothes that might only be appropriate in a date context was a huge unlock.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Yeah. I think it just speaks to some of the gender shit that's going on in San Francisco.
Everywhere, all over the world. Yeah, I think, I don't know, like we have this because it's been historically this way. Like I think you think of someone that like I'm sure if you asked an image model right now to generate an image of a tech worker, it would generate a male in a Patagonia vest or like company merch, with the computer because it's trained on data scraped from the internet, which is reflective of society's views, right? And so I think like if you think tech worker, that's what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
But I do think, again, like we can talk about it in the context a purse, or we can talk about it in terms of like, I think, you know, if you see women with like, as you see more women in tech, I think this is saying like, I'm really proud to work in tech. I'm actually like not trying to blend in. Hopefully it can play a small role in normalizing women and all types of people exploring this field. I think it's like would be very scary to have one monolithic group of people like defining the truth for society, right?
Totally.
So
yeah, no, we need more diverse perspectives in tech. I would say my only controversial take on that is if we want diverse perspectives, we need to actually be willing to have diverse perspectives and not just have, you know, women who feel like, for instance, how I did, where I was like, I'm not allowed to dress the way I want to, I'm not allowed to talk the way I want to, et cetera, et cetera. Then you start to lose some of the point of diversity.
No, definitely. I think that's why, you know, I'm new to Twitter, but I think that's people's like, you know, not everyone is their actual, like people have like identities, but I do think it's like authentic, like people are like tweeting crazy authentic things, and maybe that's why it feels like more of a public square versus like Instagram is more refined. But I'll give you an example of a diverse perspective in like a AI application. In theory, we're parsing through a data set and saying, you know, what are we doing for safety? Like, what are we doing to make sure this data set is okay and ethical and like legal to use for training this model? And, you know, one of the engineers in theory suggested using like you can use like a filtering with a template of a phone number to filter out like phone numbers or PII, other personal information. And so again, in this theoretical situation, they did 3 numbers, 4 numbers, which is a US phone number template, right? And so one of my colleagues said, well, wait, this is a global data set. What about using like templates from, you know, I'm from another country. What about using like other templates for phone numbers? And just because like she happens to be, the point of this is not that she's female, but that she brings a diverse perspective actually in her nationality. But I think like it goes back to think different, like because she brought that perspective to the table, thousands of people's data was safer.
100%.
Right? So I think stuff like that matters. I worry a little bit about like one person doing RLHF or like, you know, one private company that I won't name
shall remain unnamed,
very closed, you know, like that's like sub 2,000 people making decisions again on behalf of society. Like this is our book of truth. So I think that's, I agree. That's really important.
Yeah. Nice. What are some ways that you stay connected to home now that you're in New York?
Well, I used to go back at least twice a year. Okay. I think that's gotten a little bit more difficult, unfortunately, with the situation.
How are things with your family? Is everyone okay?
Everyone is okay for now. I think it depends on your definition of okay, right? It's really, really tough times in Lebanon right now. But I think, you know, I can't imagine like when my parents immigrated, not being able to talk to their families and having to use like foreign whatever, like internet dials. You know, really grateful to be able to like talk to them every day. But at some point it was hour by hour checking if they were still alive. And I think like, you know, that like lack of electricity, like all of these struggles, them unable to leave the country, contrasted with like, I think that was happening actually as the purse went viral. And so I was, you know, that was like such a, I think we just always live in contrast. You know, like going through that, like waking up, seeing if my family is like still alive, and then working on something incredibly high-tech, revolutionary, blowing up, like talking to people I never could have imagined. It just speaks again to, I think, like living life in contrast. I think the American dream, like the part that we don't talk about is that like you can't really take all of your loved ones with you, right? And like life is still happening at home, and like you're missing that life. And so I'm incredibly grateful to be a US citizen. It changed my life. Like I don't know why I was born with like all of these opportunities, and I think brilliant women in Lebanon and all over the world are probably smarter than me, more charismatic, more well-spoken, more hardworking, and just like did not get the same opportunities that I did. Don't get to be in this podcast studio in Manhattan. I'm not sure. But I think, you know, I will do my absolute best and work my hardest to make the most of the opportunities I do have. You know, I miss speaking Arabic. I like suggest sometimes Lebanese restaurants.
We should go to a Lebanese restaurant.
Of course. Anytime. I have a lot of Lebanese friends. So I try to stay as connected as possible.
Nice. Amazing. Yeah, well, I'm glad they're all doing relatively okay.
Thank you.
I hope it gets better.
Thank you so much. I want to like interview you back.
You can. Yeah.
Okay.
Throw me some questions.
I'm really like over here yapping by myself.
Yeah. No, tell me. I'm in the hot seat now.
How often do you go back?
Dude, that is not, it's not like normal because earlier I spent like 3 months in Pakistan this year. And right now I'm actually currently trying to decide if I want to go back for the holidays. It's so sweet, you know, how everyone's just so welcoming and they're just like, Lelu, please come home. And like, I love my nano and I know she's gonna, you know, cook all of this food for me. And my mom is texting me. Like, I love home so much. Like when I land, my parents are always there at the airport with flowers, even though the flight was at 3 a.m., you know, and they have food in the car. Like the welcome I get when I go back to Pakistan is just incredible. But also it's hard because as much as I love Pakistan and I think I've really built my own little bubble there that's like really nice, it's also like a pretty low vibration place in terms of just, I think a lot of people ask about like to women who are, you know, single, you get a lot of questions about like, when is that happening? When is da-da-da? That's just one example. Like you get a lot of comments about your body, how you look. You just, it's like an inappropriately invasive society in a lot of ways. This morning I was fielding multiple DMs from Pakistani women who, quite frankly, just didn't like. What did I say? I said that the US is my favorite country in the world. I feel very grateful to be able to vote here. No matter who wins the election. That triggered some people and, you know, I was hearing about it in my DMs. So there can just be a lot of like negativity outside of the house. If I don't our home is like this little beautiful haven. Everything's amazing. We have our dogs. I love my family. But yeah, stepping out of that bubble can be tough. And I think for a long time, I used to feel like I should, you know, I put a lot of pressure on myself to be the one that somehow like fixed everything. But now I'm like, you know, it's like actually just not that good for my mental health to be in that environment. And maybe it's okay if I just like don't go back that much.
Will your family visit you here?
They do. Both my brothers live here. I have a cousin who's here. She's married. She has a baby. I have like multiple nephews in the vicinity. So yeah, and my parents do visit a lot.
That's great. Yeah. I think Mira Marathi gave an interview where like she had built like the new GPT and she asked her family to try it, and her sister told her mom and said, like, you can ask it whatever you want. And she said, okay, ask it when Mira's getting married.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I thought that was I was like, this is the most relatable.
Yeah.
This is the most relatable thing. I think, like, actually a lot of the women in AI are people who want to make a difference.
Yeah.
People who want to change the world. People who want to help others. Hopefully there's more joining. But
yeah,
I laughed so hard because we're all like, Mira Murati, like she's
a queen.
The woman in AI. Yeah. And so it was very like validating to hear that she also deals with these challenges.
Yeah, I know. And so I'm currently contending with, because tickets are getting more and more expensive. I should decide soon. I just, because when I go, and then there's all these benefits, right? Like you get like so much, you get cooked for, you get like just enveloped in like love. And so then coming back to the States is also hard. So it's almost like it really can like mess with my flow for like months, like going. And then when I come back, I'm like adjusting back, So I don't know if that answers your question about how often I go home. I do go quite often, but I think I'm going to just start slowing it down.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think like whatever answer for like you decide what the right answer for yourself is, right? There's no right answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think when I go, it's like very emotional because I always wonder like what the version of myself that never immigrated to the States would have been like.
Yeah.
And the village that I'm from is known for like, singer, poet, artist, writer. And so I have like some freakish sense that like I always really want to write when I'm there. I feel like my purest form of sense is writing. I was a journalist there for 2 years, unfortunately left because of the revolution. But yeah, there's like this alternative version of yourself that, didn't go to Stanford and stayed in Pakistan. And what would she be like?
Yeah.
And like, I always, I have to like stop myself because I really wonder, like, would I have liked the same things? I don't know.
I know. These questions literally haunt me as well. And I think especially as time goes on, you start to see what that path would have been like, right? I'll say like most of the people I grew up with are now married to each other.
Okay.
Having kids.
Yeah.
And just kind of never, this is not a good or a bad thing. Again, I could have lived that life as well. But they like maybe went to college in the States, then like went back, met someone from it's a tiny community, right? Yeah. No one immigrates to Pakistan. So everyone who stays there is just that same group of people that all kind of knew each other. And now they're married to each other. They're having kids. It's so beautiful in a way because you all know each other, but it's also, you're not living in New York and doing podcasts.
Right.
So there's good and bad. Yeah.
Yeah. I am so incredibly grateful. I think people are like, how do you live in New York? Like classic talk track, like, your apartment's, I need a house. I'm like,
this place is magic.
I don't know if I'm just neurotic, but it really matches the pace of my mind.
Yeah.
And I think, I lived in DC before this. I was at the World Bank and the first question was, what do you do? Yeah. And here the first question is, where do you live? Maybe some of it is like social posturing, but I also think like your neighborhood, a lot of people like live somewhere that aligns with their personality. And you could hang out 3, 4, 5, 6 times, have no idea what someone does for work.
Yeah.
But they have something going on to be here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's like the best people from all over the world find their way to New York.
Exactly.
The other thing I just love about this place is like, if I have a day when I don't have anything going on, I will end up somewhere amazing. Something really cool will happen. Yeah. It could be I just go to the same cafe that I go every day and I'll meet someone awesome. Or, I run into a friend on the street or like you and I connected so randomly, like just amazing things are always happening in New York.
Yes, definitely high luck surface area.
Exactly. Yeah, which I love Lahore, but I go there to relax and recenter. Yeah. It just kind of doesn't feel like real life to me anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, real life is New York.
Really resonates.
I really like New York.
That's so interesting, like, that you rehomed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I felt at home in New York the day I came here. Yeah.
Wow. So you would say this is your home?
Oh, absolutely.
Wow.
Even when I was traveling the world and everything, I knew, eventually I'm going to come back to New York. And yeah, I also like that this place kicks your butt and makes, because I know a lot of people hate the fact that it's so expensive. I love it. I'm like, yes, good. No, good that my
I disagree with this, Layla.
No, because
it doesn't need to be.
I'll tell you, it doesn't need to be, but I'll tell you what it is.
Huh.
There's a reason only the best survive in New York.
Oh, you want to price out. You want to price.
For me, like it motivates me.
Yeah.
Because when I go to Lahore, where, I have a backup plan, I don't get anything done. Like, I love that chill princess life, but nothing really gets done. Whereas, like, in New York, like, I don't waste a day.
I will think of this next time I buy $12 latte in Nolita.
The lattes are...
We're just hustling. It's motivation.
It is.
Almond milk extra.
It is, yeah. I just feel like it's, because I lived on an island in Thailand for a bit. I lived in Bali for a bit. Like, after my Stripe days, I was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to, like, semi-retire or whatever. I can live on an island for the rest of my life and, like, not need to worry about working again.
Yeah.
That was cool for, like, a month or two.
Yeah.
But at some point, I'm like, no, I want to be where the world is. And I want to be doing stuff. And I want the world to hold me to a really high bar.
It's holding us to the high bar, Layla.
Yeah, it's a competitive place, and I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. When I go to I'm like, I wake up and I'm like ready to fight.
Yeah.
And it's like, California is so chill. You don't have to fight for anything. You can go on a long hike. Everything's fine. And I have like anxiety because I'm used to, workout, coffee, subway, office, friends, like,
New York's amazing.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay, question for you. So we talked a little bit about when you were young and you used to go, to this library and some of those formative experiences. If you could talk to your 12-year-old self, maybe give her some advice or get some advice from her or just like have a conversation with her, what would you talk to her about?
What grade would that have been? 12.
5th grade? Someone
I
Google
feel like
this.
I know. I feel like, yeah. Matt, Google. I'm trying to think. I don't know. I need to know.
Well, okay.
5th grade, maybe?
Yeah, 5th grade. Let's say 5th grade. 5th grade, Christina.
5th grade. Oh my gosh, 5th grade. I think my mom really like instilled in us this idea of, like, why can't you be the president? Like, this other person's doing it. Why can't you do this? Why can't you do that? I'm not made for podcasting. I keep hitting the mic with my hands.
No, this is
but I think like she really instilled in us the belief that we can do anything we set our minds to, and I've always, for the most part, believed her. But I think now, meeting the people that are doing those things, like, I think the difference between, you and them or me and them is that they just did it.
Yeah.
And so I wish that I think I was like a very like stressed, competitive 5th grader. I was like doing soccer, working really hard in school, took my big sister duties very seriously. I wish that I like was a little bit more chill of a child.
Okay.
But yeah, I think she would be very proud of me. And I think she wouldn't have even known to like dream of this life, because it's so much better than I could have imagined. And I think I would have told her that it's all gonna work out, and like, Mom was right, you really can do it.
I love that.
Yeah, I'm like now I'm like having this internal dialogue with myself about like apparently my life is like filed in grades of school instead of age.
That's fine. Whatever. Yeah.
What about
works.
you? What was 12-year-old Layla like?
Oh, that's for a separate conversation.
Oh,
Well,
maybe that over drinks instead of lattes.
Yeah. Well, I always prime the person in the hot seat with like, that's why we talked about who you were when you were young and all of that, so it's kind of some weird subconscious voodoo that I'm
Oh my gosh, I'm scared. I thought you were not into that. I thought you were not into the voodoo subconscious.
I don't believe in horoscopes.
I thought you were I thought your brand was the hot takes person.
I am the hot takes person, very proudly so.
You should be.
Yeah, thank you. So what's next for GPUPurse?
Hopefully big things. I think it's so much more than...
Can we see it again?
Yeah. I think the bag, again, like, the bag is really, really beautiful. I love wearing it. Yeah. Like, I can't wait to wear it out. But I think, like, it also, again, has validated this thesis that there is a community here. Mm-hmm. And so I think we are really thinking about, both Tessa and I are really thinking about, like, the community aspect of the bag. We've met like so many incredible women through the bag. Yeah. A lot of people have asked for some sort of male version of GPUPurse.
Believe it, yeah.
Candidly, I'm really enjoying this. I'm like, just let us have this for a second. But I think that would be really interesting.
Yeah.
It is incredibly hard to source decommissioned NVIDIA GPUs.
Well, so
we can do a lot more if we explore that a little bit more. But I will say I cannot name drop for legal reasons, but all the tech it girls have the bag, and it's been really fun meeting them, connecting with them, and I love how supportive like all genders have been. It's really like an objectifies like a moment in time, I think.
Yes.
Like, I think 10 years from now, we'll look back at this and remember it fondly. But
we're making history on a podcast in Manhattan.
But yes, stay tuned. Stay tuned for more updates on GPUPurse.
Amazing. Well, I got a closing ritual for you.
Oh.
This is our magic crystal ball.
Oh.
Yeah. And you...
Has this happened before?
Yes.
Oh, this is... Oh, I'm not special. Okay.
No, well, I mean, you every podcast guest gets a moment with the crystal ball where you can make any wish that you would like, and it comes true. And
do I have to share it? Is this like a birthday cake?
You can share it if you want to, but you don't have to. Either way, you'll get whatever you ask for.
I think my wish is just that, like, we grow. Like, I do think, like, I'm really excited about the future.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about exploring, what comes out of this GPUPurse community, but also, like, what women in tech looks like 5-10 years from now. So I think I wish for, like, optimism and opportunity.
I love that. What a wonderful wish.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, by the way.
Thank you so much for coming.
This was so much fun. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, this was super fun. And I can't wait to see where things go. Yes. I saw someone dressed up as made like a fake version of this for their Halloween costume.
Someone went, I was like, did they go as the purse? Did they go as, they went as my tweet, which is fascinating.
Yeah.
Incredible things happening on X.
X.
But I thought that was so cool. That actually made my day.
So
like,
absolutely.
Someone like tagged me as my tweet. I was like, okay, this is officially a viral moment.
This is a viral moment. Oh, I'm so proud of you. And thank you.
I'm proud of you as well. Thank you so much for having me. You've been a great host.
Amazing. And you've been a great host as well.
I know. I need to let it go for recovering journalists.
Yeah. No, I love it. This was cool. This is the first guest who's like turned it around on me.
Well, I'm just yapping about myself.
It was great.
So like narcissistic and weird. I'm like, what was your experience?
I love it. Yeah. Amazing. Well, yeah, thanks so
Awesome.
much for coming.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you so much for having me. Cheers.